going on, guys? I am Septime Seer George, the coach of your San Francisco Arcaniners, and I know it's been a very long time since I've uploaded. It's been a very long time since any GBA stuff has been uploaded, and I just want to announce that I am back. I am officially done with college. I took my last final on Wednesday, then I slept for 16 hours on Wednesday night going into Thursday, so I woke up really late, and I wasn't going to upload a video that late then, but now I am back, and just as I get back, GBA Season 6 has officially started. What that means is, if you guys do not already know, the live draft stream already happened, and our Week 1 battles are going up this Sunday, and our first opponent is the Milwaukee Sawsbucks and Battler X, who Steve actually beat us last season, and Battler X is the new guy who has taken over the Milwaukee Sawsbucks, as we all know, of course. But I'm going to use this video to quickly go over my draft, what I picked, why I picked it, and why I picked it in the round I did. So, first off, I'm going to talk about the franchise I did. Now, I did decide to franchise this season. Now, it is 40 points for a Tier 1 and Tier 2, and 20 points to franchise a Tier 3, 4, or 5, I think, or something like that. And you can only franchise from the Pokemon that you had last season. So, I had a pool. We could not franchise the Mega, by the way. I probably would have franchised Mega Lopunny if I could have, just because it was just an outstanding performer, really the MVP of the team. But I was looking at the other Pokemon on my team, and I knew I wanted to get one of them again, and that was Nidoqueen. Now, Nidoqueen did fantastically. Offense, defense, priority, hazards. It just does a fantastic job of all of it, and it really fills the role of anything, and that's what I like about it. It can be specially defensive, it can be physically defensive, it can be specially offensive, it can be physically offensive, it can be a tank, it can be both, it can be a suicide lead. It can do a lot of different things, and that's what I like about it a lot. And just the fact that its coverage is so great, no one can prep for its coverage, because I prep for you. You do not prep for Nidoqueen unless you have a wall like Blissey or Chansey or stuff like that. Then you can maybe prep for Nidoqueen, but other than that, you can't take on all the moves that it can learn. Overall, last season, it was one of the standout performers on the team. My team last season was kind of hindering to my prepping abilities, because I wasn't able to prep the way I wanted to every week. I was kind of limited to how I could deal with a Mon and a specific team, especially in the division matches. I played all my cards in one match, because that's what I had to do, and then in the second match I was like, well, shit, I can't play the same cards, I have to change it up, but I can't change it up because my Pokemon don't allow me to change it up. So Nidoqueen was one of the Pokemon that I felt I was able to change it up with. And instead of having to worry about getting it in the second or third round, because the Nidos people are slowly starting to realize that these Pokemon are insanely good in the format. So if I wait till the second or third round, it might go. It seriously might get picked. So I decided I'm not going to have any stress with that. I'll take the 20 points deficit. And maybe, if you guys already seen the draft, you know. But if you haven't, maybe I'll get those points back eventually in the form of a Mega. Who knows? So I was pick number, as I'm counting now, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I was the 10th pick in the draft, so I didn't know what would fall to me, to be honest. If Manaphy fell to me, I'll get Manaphy. If a Lottie fell to me, I'll get a Lottie. If Mew somehow fell to me, I'll think about Mew. But I was going through it, and if you guys saw the Token Minorities tournament, it was one of the last videos I uploaded before I got really busy with school, is I used Latios there. Now, I loved using Latios there. It was just a nuke and a tank, but I felt like as I was prepping with it, it did the same thing over and over and over and over again, and that was run Choice Specs or Life Orb and drop a Draco that no one can take. So I decided I would go with something very similar to that. I wanted a good defogger, I wanted good hazard removal, wanted something that I can use more of a bulky Mon as well. I love Pokemon that I can use very offensively and very defensively as well. And I didn't go with Latios, but I went with Latias. Now, Latias is a fantastic Pokemon with base 110 speed. I'm already breaking the speed tier that I had last season, where Miltank was my fastest Pokemon except for Mega Lopunny. So I have Latias, and I have access to Draco. I can drop insanely powerful Dracos. I can go for the psychic coverage that I want. I have defog, I have recover. I can go for defensive spreads with Calm Mind. I can go for specially defensive spreads, go for speedy Calm Mind. I can go for specs even, because it's still, even though it's not as powerful as Latios, it is still an insanely powerful Mon, and it can do so much so easily. So I feel like this first round pick is pretty self-explanatory. There's not much else I can say about it. It's just Latios. I expected it to go. Usually the Latios go in the first round and the first 5 picks, because everyone wants that fast dragon defog or psychic type that everyone needs to prep insane amounts for. So that's why I decided to go with Latios. And now I'm looking at my team and I'm like, well, I have a nice weakness. And I know I'm going to need to grab a bulky water eventually. So what I decided to do is go for my bulky water in the second round. And I was very happy that I got this Mon. I got Melodic. Now, Melodic is a phenomenal Pokemon in the format, as it has access to physical. Its physical bulk isn't great, but it's enough to where it can wall entire teams if their physical attackers aren't strong enough. And if I invest in special defense, holy shit, the special defense it has is off the walls, through the roof. It's incredible. Now, its special attack, I believe, is base 100, so that is also incredibly good. I did run, in the D League, I did draft Melodic as my Ice Resist, and I was able to use it effectively as a Choice Scarfer as well, while facing a Mega Manectric that was an Intimidate user. It gave me +2 because of competitive, and I was able to fire off Hydro Pumps, stuff like that. So, really excited for Melodic. It can do a lot of different things. Of course, I do like where my Pokemon can do multiple different things. Of course, Melodic's going to be a Pokemon that's not really going to be too offensive. It's more just going to stop setup sweepers, going to pass around the Scald Burns. But on the 1 or 2 occasions where I decide, you know what, offensive Melodic is what I need here, you guys are going to be in for a treat with some nice little offensive Melodic action. But I feel like that pick, again, is pretty self-explanatory. I got arguably the best defogger in the game, and then arguably the best bulky water in the game. So I can't really argue with anything like that. But my next pick, decided to go with a second tier 1, because I felt like this pick would go if I didn't pick it soon enough, and I did really want to use it, because did I use it? No, it was used against me in the season 1 of the D League in the playoff match that I lost. But I decided to draft Infernape. Now, Infernape is a very good Pokemon. It has access to, it is base 104, I want to say. 104, I think, offensives and attack and special attack. Base 108 speed. Its defenses are to be desired. I'm not going to argue with that. But it does have access to Stealth Rocks, Will-O-Wisp, and Slack Off. So it has reliable. All of my Pokemon, except for Nidoqueen so far, have reliable recovery. I have rocks on 2 Pokemon now, except the main thing I'm looking at with Infernape is the access to Swords Dance and Nasty Plot, Grass Knot, Close Combat, Mach Punch, Vacuum Wave, Fire Blast, Flare Blitz, Stone Edge, Earthquake. Just the coverage on this thing is incredible. It is Thunder Punch as well with Iron Fist. It can do so many different things, especially offensively. So now I have Melodic, who can do 2 things on the defensive side. Now I have Infernape, who can do 2 things on the offensive side. And you're prepping for Nidoqueen, Infernape, Latios. Already my team is insanely threatening. And I already have a faster team than last season with Infernape and Latios on the team. Even Melodic would be one of the fastest things on my team. So with Infernape, I really feel I'm adding a very good, diverse offensive attacker to my team. One that I feel, with the way I prep, will fit with me very well, and I'll be able to use its coverage and the fact that I can run both physical offense and special offense at the same time, or just go all out in one offense and really sweep the person. So Infernape, really happy with it, etc., etc. Very self-explanatory pick in my opinion. So I was looking at my team, and I'm going through it, and I'm thinking, you know what? I have rocks. I don't have spikes. And my rock setters are ones that I don't want to run rocks on every week. I want a Pokemon that I can run rocks on and alleviate the pressure of having rocks on Infernape or Nidoqueen, as they're both very good attackers, and I can also run Taki Spikes on Nidoqueen instead then. So I was looking through what learned Stealth Rocks, and then I was looking at my team again, and I'm like, Latios is my only defogger. So how do I want to try to alleviate the stress off my defog or Latios as well? Because if I don't have to run the defog on Latios, I'm not going to. I don't want to every week. So I was looking for a rapid spinner, a hazard setter, and it was staring me in the face, and I'm like, I have to pick Fortress. So I picked Fortress in the 4th round, I believe, and it is only weak to fire, and the past 3 picks I have all resist fire. So that's automatically very good synergy right there. And I was looking at the coverage it has and everything, all that stuff, and not really the coverage, but just the fact that its defensive bulk is so high. It's like Melodic, but the opposite. So now I have 2 Pokemon that are insane special bulk, insane physical bulk, all the hazards I need, and Rapid Spin in one Pokemon, as well as Volt Switch and Gyro Ball. I can run a Q-Stop Explosion lead. I could max out defense. I can max out the special defense too. So overall with Fortress, I am planning to tank a lot of hits, alleviate the pressure of running hazards on my other Pokemon that I don't always want to run hazards on, as well as take away the pressure off of my Latios for having to run a defog when I can just run Rapid Spin instead. So overall, the Fortress pick, I feel, really rounds out my team that I have so far, and is going to really allow me to run more diverse sets on everything else. So next up, in the 5th round, I was going through my team, and I'm like, well, so Fortress is weak to fire, and Melodic, yes, it's a fire switch-in, but I don't have anything to take on really. Well, it's really hard to justify this pick, I feel like. I don't have much to take on a ghost type. I guess I can say that. Anyway, I did get Snorlax as my 5th round pick. Now, Snorlax is a Pokemon I used in the Token Minority Tournament as well. It was one I found great usefulness in because of just that high HP stat. You can invest in special defense, and it's the best special tank in the world right there. It turns into a mini Chansey or Blissey, but it can actually do offensive things too. It has access to Curse, so it can set up. It has, if you invest in max defense, it's a defensive tank because it just has that HP bulk to absorb the hits. It has access to rest and sleep talk. It does it very effectively. I use an Assault Vest to great effect as well in the TTM tournament. It has fantastic coverage. I didn't know it gets Seed Bomb. The thing gets fucking Seed Bomb. Come on, that's awesome. It has access to, I think, T-Wave and Toxic. I don't know if T-Wave if it actually does, but I think it does. It has access to Self-Destruct. It has a pretty high attack stat. I think it's base 100 or 110, I want to say. So really be smacking things hard with it. It has access to Thick Fat and Immunity. So with the Thick Fat, I'm rounding out my team even more. So the only Pokemon that can take Fire and Ice are Melodic and Infernape. And Infernape doesn't want to take any hits. Let's be honest there. Melodic also doesn't want to be taking it on the physical side, so I have the Snorlax here. So Snorlax is just gonna absorb hits with Thick Fat. It's gonna be just a pivot. It could be a setup sweeper. It's gonna be a tank. It's gonna be a savage. I have already pretty good resist to fighting in the form of Latios and Nidoqueen, and I'm thinking that I'll be also adding more fighting resist in the future. So that is why I decided to pick Snorlax in the 5th round. I also thought it would go. If I didn't get Snorlax this round, I thought it would maybe not last to the 6th round just because of how good it is and just how other teams looked in with what they needed. So in the 6th round, GBA Season 6 draft, I decided to go with a Fairy type, one that quad resisted fighting, not get my Mega again because I'm crazy, and one that I've seen used to great success and that I've always wanted to try, and that is Gardevoir. So in Gen 6, Gardevoir got the Fairy typing, and basically I had nothing to switch into a Dragon type move. While Gardevoir is not a defensive mon, it has crazy special defense, and it has the best defensive typing in the game, arguably one of the best defensive typings in the game. The Psychic type means it can't take knockoffs that well, but that is fine with me. I'll have other things to take on knockoffs, etc. But just having a Fairy type on your team means Dragon types have to be afraid of something. Usually dragon types go, you have a steel type, I'll run flamethrower and it's dead. So my fortress automatically right there is just, wow, I'm gonna die. Gardevoir on the other hand has the capability to OHKO any dragon type with its main stab move, which will be run almost every single week. It has the capability to burn everything. It can go Trick Room, as I used very successfully. I did use Mega Gardevoir in the Token Minority Tournament, so I decided to go regular Gardevoir here, because while I can't do everything as well as Mega Gardevoir, it still does things phenomenally and has access to items which Mega Gardevoir does not have access to. I can run Trick Room, I can run Trick, and the Choice Scarf. I can run defensive, I can run specially defensive, I can run a lot of different sets, I can run support with Wish. And overall, it also is a quad resistance to fighting, which I did want for the Snorlax. I believe it also resists the Psychic type, which I had a problem with, because really the only thing that took it on is Latios, because Fortress... My problem with Fortress is that anything can run HP Fire, and if I don't invest in special defense, it's going to kill it, so... That is why I wanted some more things to take on the things that Fortress could not, or the Fortress kind of could take on, but can't because of HP Fire. So, I feel like Gardevoir and Snorlax together really round that out a lot. So, next up, in the 7th round, I decided to go with a Pokemon that is immune to fighting, one that I've been interested in because of its utility, as well as the moves it gets and the stab moves it has. So I decided to draft Spiritomb in the 7th round. Spiritomb, I'm drafting a much more bulky team this season because I want to have a lot of options on defense. But I'm making sure all my defensive mons have very potent options on offense. And Spiritomb is a prime example of that. I love the fact that it gets priority Sucker Punch, access to Foul Play, and the main move is Pursuit that I saw in that set. Pursuit is such a good move in the format because you can prep for things like Alakazam. It walls any Psychic type. Walls it. Hard walls it. I don't care what you think it is. If your Alakazam has Dazzling Gleam, it's not going to OHKO, especially a defensive Spiritomb, because Spiritomb is just that bulky. And you're going to want to switch out, and I'm going to Pursuit Trap you, and you're going to be like, well, shit. My Mega is gone, my Alakazam is gone, my Hoopa's gone, my Mesprit's gone, any Psychic type gone, just like that. I can burn anyone with the Will-O-Wisp. I have Pain Split, so I can heal anything back. I can run a Bandit set. It gets Trick or Switcheroo, whichever one it is. I can run a Calm Mind set. I can run a special set with Dark Pulse, Shadow Ball, all that fun stuff. I have Shadow Sneak as well, so even more priority. Overall, it's a very good utility mon. Is it a Pokemon I'll bring every single week? Probably not. It's not one that I'll need to fill the role every single week. But in the weeks I do bring it, I really think it'll be for a specific purpose. So it can trap a few mons or a mon. I could be a specific wall for something. If there's a scary Psychic type, I'm going to bring it for that. Possibly. I'm not going to say always. Always have tricks up your sleeves. But yeah, so that is Spiritomb right there. And the next Pokemon... in the 9th round? Was it 9th round? 8th round. 8th round of the GBA Season 6 draft. I decided, at this point I was looking at the Megas. And I was looking at everyone else's Megas. And I decided that no one will draft the Mega I want to draft at this point. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to hold it off another round. And I'm going to get a Tier 4 Pokemon that I feel is phenomenal in the format. I really think this Tier 4 is one that people... overlook because of its evolution. It is a pre-evolved, it is a not fully evolved Pokemon, but its abilities, its power, and its speed really help it out here, and I decided to draft Magneton. Now, I don't have a problem with Steel types. I don't think I have a problem with Steel types, but the Mega Pokemon I'm planning to draft will go hand in hand with this Pokemon, and it will make perfect sense as to why I drafted Magneton over any other electric type. I was thinking of drafting regular Rotom again, because that thing was an absolute savage for me in the last season. One of the standout performers. I brought it to maybe, I think, 7 or 8 games, and it did its role every single time phenomenally. It was defensive, it was offensive, it did everything. However, decided that I was going to go for a little combo here. And with Magneton, even without me using the Mega, I still have access to Analytic, to Magnet Pull, Just too sturdy as well. I get a Volt Switcher. It is faster than Magnezone. Has what, 120 special attack or something like that? 110? It's pretty powerful. It's a very strong Pokemon. The Flash Cannon stab that it's going to get, it's going to destroy fairies no matter what. With Analytic, I could run minus speed and then just completely obliterate through the walls. I have the slow Volt Switch as well, which is great. I can also make it fast if I run a Choice Scarf. I can run a Bulky Set with Eviolite. I'm just going to be trapping things. I'll be Volt Switching around. It'll be great. Magneton, really excited for this pick, actually. It's one of my favorite picks of my draft. In the next round, I decided to actually pick up my Mega. I was just like, you know what? Now's the time. I'm going to do it. Might as well. I don't think my last pick is going to get picked by anyone just because it's crazy and it's my tier 5. So I decided to go with Mega Beedrill. Now, what Mega Beedrill allows me to do is I was actually in the negative for points. I believe I was minus 40 points in, or 60. And what Mega Beedrill allowed me to do was to bring my point value back up, as well as it gave me a very similar Mega to Mega Lopunny. Now, you guys are probably thinking, what are you talking about? The stats are so different. The bulk is different. The bulk, I don't care about the bulk. I never cared about the bulk on Mega Lopunny. I never cared how well it took a hit. I used it for quick hitting, priority, and just the ability to tear through people. And I decided with Mega Beedrill, I wanted a Pokemon that was faster, because I know I'm not getting Mega Lopunny, so I just wanted a Pokemon that was faster than Mega Lopunny, that hit just as hard, if not harder, and I was willing to forego the defensive stats in order to get that. Now with Mega Beedrill, nothing outspeeds Mega Beedrill except for Mega Aerodactyl and Mega Alakazam. You have to run at least a base 80 max speed Choice Scarfer if you want to outspeed it, and that's by 1 point at level 50. If we did level 100, which we don't do, but if we did level 100, Mega Beedrill would even outspeed base 80 Choice Scarfers, which would make it so that the only thing that could kill it was really priority, but that's not the case. So base 80s can outspeed it, but even though I don't have to run max speed every time. I can run some defensive investment, and a quick attack off of, let's say, Mega Lopunny does half maybe. It's not like it doesn't tank those tiny priority moves. It can still tank those hits. It doesn't take a Mega Pinsir's quick attack. It doesn't tank a Psyshock because it's super effective, but it can live 1 or 2 hits, and the main thing with it is that I can U-turn around. I have a lot of hazard setters. I have a trapper in the form of Magneton, which is going to trap the steel types that it doesn't like, that Latios doesn't like, that my Gardevoir doesn't like. So with it, I feel I can get a lot of utility, and I like with my Mega is a one-dimensional Mega. I don't like to centralize my team around this complicated Mega that can go a lot of different ways, because I feel like the way I used Mega Lopunny last season was very one-dimensional. It did one thing every single week, and it did it perfectly. And that's what I want from Mega Beedrill. And with Mega Beedrill, I'm able to get more points, so I can draft a better team, in my opinion. And then I don't have to bring it every week. I can rely on the rest of my team to bring it. And with Mega Beedrill as well, people always have to have a way of dealing with it, or it's going to sweep their team. They have to have priority. If they don't have priority, it's going to sweep you. If they can't outspeed you, it's going to sweep you. If you don't have a reliable defensive wall, it's going to sweep you. And if your only way of dealing with it is a steel type, I have Magneton now. So overall, I really think Mega Beedrill complements my draft a lot. And just the fact that it's so fast and so powerful and so one-dimensional, it does that dimension so well that it's going to centralize how people build, to the point where I don't even have to bring it some weeks, and the weeks I do, it's going to absolutely just run train. So going off of that, I have one more pick, and it has to be a tier 5. And I was just looking through tier 5, and I'm just thinking, well, my team, in my opinion, is pretty much complete. I have drafted a phenomenal team, in my opinion. It really fits my playstyle well. You guys will notice there's a lot of UU Pokemon in there that just overall fit together really well. And I know that. I did kind of realize that halfway into the draft that I was drafting mainly UU Pokemon, but that's just what I'm comfortable with. And I've always said, guys, to draft what you're comfortable with, and that's what you got to do. Now, on the final pick in the GBA draft, I was thinking, you know what? We have the free agency. I can always substitute it out if it doesn't work. But I was trying this Pokemon out in the Smogon tiers, and it did surprisingly well. It's in a unique speed tier of base 101. I believe its offenses are 97 to both, and its coverage is pretty damn good with some pretty good abilities as well. So I was thinking, you know what? If I'm facing like a Manaphy or something like that, this Pokemon automatically outspeeds it no matter what. If I'm facing any base 100, it outspeeds it, and that's a phenomenal speed tier to have. For tier 5, yeah, I'm going to go with it. And I could have had any of three choices with this, and you guys already know where this is going, I bet. I decided to draft Simisage as my final round pick. Now, Simisage was very controversial. A lot of people did not like this pick, but a few people actually did, and I'm really happy for the people that did. You have to believe in Simisage here, guys. When you look at its coverage, look at its stats, it has the possibility of being a very good intermediate level wall breaker that I won't bring often, but I will bring enough to where when I do bring it, I can use a Swords Dance set, I can use a Nasty Plot set, I could run 4 coverage moves that just destroy a team, it has Gluttony, so I can run Substitute and the Nasty Plot with a Salak Berry, I can run Sub with Pataya, I could do, not Citrus Berry, but I can use Lychee Berry. There's a lot of different things I can do with that Pokemon, as well as it has Overgrow, so if it comes down to it, you want to take an Overgrow Leaf Storm? No. No one wants to take an Overgrow Leaf Storm. That's not fun. Its coverage is really good. Its speed is really good. Its power is pretty good as well if you're on a Life Orb. If you're on a Berry, you are trying to hold him off for more of a late game, or just so he can smack a few things around in the middle game and just break a hole for something else. So overall, I really think that Simisage is going to be a phenomenal Pokemon in the Draft League format. It's been underrated for too long, and I really feel that I'm going to give the Simis the limelight that they deserve. And if it fails, if I decide that it's too weak, it doesn't do its job well enough, I have the free agency. I can always go back into that tier and think, what would do even better than Simisage? What do I need for my team? So I'm not too concerned if it doesn't work out, but I'm 85% sure that Simisage is going to put in some massive amounts of work this season, and I'm really excited to see what's to come with it. But anyways, guys, that is going to be my GBA Season 6 draft. Once again, I'll go over it. Nidoqueen, Latios, Melodic, Infernape, Fortress, Snorlax, Gardevoir, Spiritomb, Magneton, Mega Beedrill, and last but not least, Simisage. What are your opinions on the draft, guys? Please let me know in the comment section down below. Where do you think we'll place? Are we going to take the championship this year? Even though last year we did fail in the championships, and I do want to apologize about that, guys. I know Arcaniners Nation was very excited to see us bring home our first ever title in the first ever season, but I feel I'm more comfortable with this draft than I was with my last draft, and I feel I'm able to do a lot better things with this. I feel it's a lot better. It's far superior to it, and I can get a lot farther with it. Although the competition is more intense this season, I feel that I can still overcome a lot of the people here. Really, I feel like on my best day, I can overcome almost anyone in this league. But I have to be on my best, and the other people are always going to be on their best, so it's always going to be tough. So, guys, what are your opinions on the draft? Just leave a comment down below, and that's pretty much it for the video, guys. So if you did in fact enjoy, I'd really appreciate if you did comment, like, rate, or subscribe. Once again, I am Septom C or George, coach of your San Francisco Arcaniners, and look out for Sunday, guys. Our Battle vs. Battler X is going to happen. Peace out.